We are Lamed Ches. Just give me a second. Lamed Ches Sif Vav. So, first of all, Gma Tov to everyone. Gityor, it's the first time that we meet since before Rosh Hashanah. So, let's just do a little bit of a recap so that we'll just one second. Let's see if I can. All right. Bit of a recap to what it is that we're saying here. This is based on the Kavonos Arizal, Kavonos Atfilm of Rabbeinu Arizal, that whatever moichin that the person had during the day leaves him as he goes to sleep at night. And this is a process that happens both in the level of the Malchus and the level of Zer Anpin.
That way sometimes you wake up depressed.
No, it has nothing to do with that. It's not to do with that. The moichin of the Malchus are Arizal says that they're stowed in the heart of Zer Anpin, and the moichin of Zer Anpin are elevated above the head of Zer Anpin. When a person makes up Chatzois, he is starting to learn Torah. And when he's learning Torah, he is building the Malchus. The Malchus is just a Nekuda by Chatzois. Person learns Torah. As a person gets into the day, the Malchus that he has built during the night, during his learning, is going up to its root, which is the 5 fingers of the left hand, and sits by the left arm opposite the heart. And the Malchus then retrieves the moichin that it deposited the night before in the heart of Zer Anpin. Zer Anpin euphemistically is the trunk of the body, so this is where the heart is. So this is, and Arizal says that the Zer Anpin is envious of the Malchus having gotten its own moichin, and it pulls down the moichin on itself. And then this is the moichin from yesterday, but this is happening, and during Shachris, person gets brand new moichin, both for Zer Anpin and both for the Malchus. And after davening, you take off your tefillin, right? The moichin are being taken off, and what remains is an imprint, a reshima of these new moichin that you got during Shachris. And this is your moichin throughout the day. These are the moichin that when you go to sleep at night, leave you. The Malchus puts it in the heart. It's just the residue, the rishimu, that initially you got in the morning. And this is a process that repeats itself every single day. So Rabbeinu is very particular, as explained in Terech Dalet. Rabbeinu is not here to teach us Kabbalah. Rabbeinu says that the Iker, now of course is Moitzeh, the Yotzet of Rabbeinu HaKadosh, Tafshin Pei Gimel. Rabbeinu says that the Iker Limit Kabbalah is going to be La'osid Lovely, when the Torah Atikas Timoah is going to be revealed. What Rabbeinu reveals to us when he mentions Kavonas Harizal or whatever it is, as we have met that in term in Tes, we met it in many different places, and especially here also, is what kind of Avodas Hashem the Kavonas Harizal are actually teaching us. How do we serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu with Kavonas Harizal? The Kavonas Harizal is like a blueprint. Okay? Rabbeinu wants to take the all these exalted chashuv divrei Torah of Harizal and take it out of the as it were, it's not taking it out. It's basically it's the same context, but take it away from the theory, the realm of theory. There's just you learn theory, okay, the motion, the motion goes to the heart, and the motion is above the head, then it's down, and it goes up. So all this is divrei emes la'amitoy. This is kodesh kodeshim, obviously. But Rabbeinu brings it down to the point of how do you serve a Kodesh Baruch Hu with it. And this is what Rabbeinu says, that you start, there's a klipa that says that it's called Ketz Kol Basar, which is an envious, jaundiced kind of inclination to put everybody and everything down. And the way to this is the thing that blocks the Avodas Hashem of a person. He says the kavana, the main aim, the main goal of our avodah, which is expressed in film, is to connect yourself to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to be dovek in HaKadosh Baruch Hu, vekus. Rabbeinu says the Iker siman on vekus is film. In fact, Rabbeinu says it's the only siman on film, on vekus. Tefillin is vekus in HaKadosh Baruch Hu. At the end of the Torah that we have learned, we have basically learned that dveikus in the Kadosh Baruch Hu means living in a state of cognition of Metzias Hashem. As Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai, if I remember correctly, before he passed away, he said to his Talmidim, may the fear of Shemaim will be upon you like the fear of human beings. In other words, may you be embarrassed before HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the way you're embarrassed in front of people. So his Talmidim said, Ad Kan. That's the biggest blessing you can give us, that you want to equate the kind of embarrassment that we have from HaKadosh Baruch Hu to that we have from people. Should give us, that we shouldn't care about, like Amram Chasida said, Alavaya should be considered a fool before the people all my life than to be a Rasha for 1 hour before HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Give us, something, he's telling us, Alavai, that your embarrassment from Hashem would be equal to your embarrassment from people. So they say, Ad Kan, that's it, no more than that. So he told him, Alavai. You think it's not a big deal to Alavai? Basically, this is the nub of this particular Torah. How do you get to the point of being so cognizant of the Metzias of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to the point that you are embarrassed before HaKadosh Baruch Hu? L'maisadik. It's like when people catch someone red-handed, that person, blushes. That blushing, when you reach that madrega of blushing before HaKadosh Baruch Hu, this is called the Vekus. This is called the light of Tefillin. That they said, "V'ra'u kol amei haaretz ki shem Hashem nikra alecha v'ya'u mimeka." And all the people of the land shall see that the light of Hashem is upon you, and they will fear from you. So Rabbeinu says that when a person reaches such a madrega, that his fear, his embarrassment, in other words, his recognition of the Metzias of HaKadosh Baruch Hu is so open, is so mamoshesdik, that he's simply embarrassed. What have I done? It's not even a question of, if, how guilty you are or how not guilty you are. If you're standing in front of the entire assembly of the United Nations to give a speech, and something happens and your pants fall down. Not your fault. It's not like you took off your pants and you streaked across the stage. Your pants fell down. It's your fault. It's not your fault, but in front of everybody with all the TV cameras that show the image throughout the globe, you'd be pretty embarrassed. Your fault, not fault.
Today they give him an ovation.
Probably. But what I'm saying is, yeah. But we're not talking about. We're not talking about the United Nations. We're talking about Kodesh Baruch Hu. So even B'Shoigig, you know,
it's went down amongst people today.
There's a book that Manis Friedman wrote. Doesn't anyone blush anymore? You know, it's. By the way, in my humble opinion, which you can take it or leave it because this is just a private opinion, I believe that all these shootings that are going on in America in the school.
Where?
In America, in the schoolyards, and the mass shooting, the people come and shoot, is because of that.
Because of that?
Because there is no more social embarrassment anymore. You're either a full-fledged criminal, and you don't have a right to, because if you have opinions, whatever it is, that don't fit the mold, then this, or else everything is 100% okay. You can marry a horse; they don't care. I mean, it's just like there's no in between. It used to be that people had grades of embarrassment. You can be embarrassed, and it's healthy. Embarrassment is healthy, but it's a very important social tool. But there is no middle ground anymore. It's either you're a racist and a misogynist and or whatever it is, or 100% do whatever it is that you want and what just.
That's exactly what we're talking about. The cat's called Basar of the Goyim.
Yeah.
They put down anyone who's not in their line.
That you have to understand that Bichlal, it is a very, very American, a very typical American trait. American are by and large, not that we are here to speak. We're not here to speak. To discuss.
Mendel's had a great atheism is coming to the world.
No, what's the question?
I mean, they do say that America believes in God. People believe in God, but they're like, God that lets me do whatever I want. It's like. That allows me to do, whatever I want.
Okay, whatever. You should see the Dafka, even those in America that where the Bible thumpers are, and whatever it is, they don't have these kind of shootings. They don't have it. I mean, that just it's like, how do you call a waiter in a Chinese restaurant? It's some dumb guy. So it's you don't find it when people have, this is the Baal Shem Tov would never ride with a Goyshe wagon driver that when they would pass by a crutch, based on the Zara, he wouldn't cross himself. If he wouldn't cross, Hashem wouldn't go in the wagon with him. He says, because if he doesn't have a fear of anything upon him, he's liable to do anything. But Hashem wouldn't go with him.
Did he cross himself?
Yeah, at least he's afraid of his own of the Zara. So there's a fear. He fears a higher authority. If he has no fear of any higher authority, but sometimes will not go with him.
So he would go with the religious guy?
No, they were not religious. They were just primitive, whatever it is. They had a munah, there's something watches them. So the other would just be murderers because that's you take away that fear from a guy, then you got a murderer. Very simple. It's flat out. It's just a matter of how politically correct that happens to be at that particular point in time. Like Chaim Shmulevitz said, at the time that the Germans were talking about 50s, 40s, 50s, late 40s, 50s, 60s. The Germans were a model of good manners and etiquette. So he said, Chaim Shmulevitz, he took Taishiv Smir to Shanghai. They ran away, and he said, how is it possible that the same people during the Second World War, would go after the truck that is taking the women and children to the gas chamber, and if a child, will fall off the truck, so a German will take that kid and smash it against the wall and then throw it back into the truck to its mother. Just burn people alive, ghoulish. It says, and today they're so well mannered and
Germany?
yeah, Germany in Second World War.
Wait, I thought you meant today in Germany.
So he said, how come during the Second World War they were Reitzchem to the point of
today they're well mannered?
At that time, no, we're talking about after the war, about late 40s, 50s, 60s. Says, how come they're so well mannered? He says, because during the war, it was fashionable to kill the Jews. So that's what they did. Today, it's fashionable to be well mannered. So they're behaving well mannered. He says, will it be tomorrow, Chas v'Chalila, fashionable again to kill the Jews? They'll do it right away. No ifs, ands, or buts. So when a person has this here Shemaim to the point that he is the embarrassment that he lives in the presence of a Kadosh Baruch Hu. The presence of Kadosh Baruch Hu is so palpable for him that the embarrassment is visible on his face. Rabbeinu says when people look at him, as much as look at him, they also get Yireh Shamayim from him. He says, "V'ra'u chol amei haaretz." The delight of Hashem is upon you. V'yaru mimeka, they will become afraid from you. They will get yira from you. From you, they'll also be getting Yireh Shamayim. Just by looking at you.
When was the last time any of us heard the expression, "Oh, I'm so ashamed"? Because the sense of shame is synonymous with embarrassment. In the 60s, there was a social psychologist wrote a book called "On Shame and the Search for Identity." Basically, what she said is that if you aren't capable of feeling embarrassment and shame, then your identity is flawed.
I'd say. But what we're saying about Americans at large is that we said it a few times already, American is basically an adolescent society. And it operates along the axis that in one end has freedom and on the other end has prohibition. It's a typical teenager. Hey, I want to do whatever it is I want to do. And anybody who doesn't fit with our clique, with our, with the successful ones, is canceled. It's the prohibition. Call it canceled, call it woke, call it whatever it is that it's a very typical adolescent and therefore American trait. And I can say whatever it is that I want. And you're not allowed to say anything against it. Because if you say anything against it, you're abolished, you're canceled, you have no right to exist. So this is what Rabbeinu says, Moshe Gamken Siva, Moshe Gamken Zocho, the Oira Tefillin, Moshe Zocho to the light of Tefillin, Moshe Kosov, Visnatzlu, the Israelis Edyom, Mihar Chorei. Am Yisrael took off their jewelry, their adornment that they had got on Har Sinai. So in the Zohar, it says their adornment, their jewelry, that film. This is the film. That's right. When Am Yisrael were in Har Sinai, they faced Hashem literally, and there was Zohar to such a revelation of Metzias Hashem that the neshama left their body. Which both we had to bring them back to life again and again and again. They were so overawed by the Metzias of Kodesh Baruch Hu. So in Har Sinai, Bnei Israel was Zocher to the light of film, which is the light of Busha, of the Yira. And when they faltered by the ego, it was taken away from them. And this is a Moshe Yikach es oil. Afterwards, we said the Moshe took the oil, which al pipshat means the tent or mud, and it took it out. But we already learned that oil is also a language of light. Behiloi ale neri. When it says that the like an aura, that it glows upon the candle of Hashem glows over my head. And that's what he said. The Moshe Rabbeinu went out to Har Sinai to get the second luchos. When he came down, it says, Moshe lo yoda ki koran or panav. Rabbeinu didn't know that the face, the skin of his face has glowed, has beamed, light beaming out of Moshe Rabbeinu's face. Al Shem, this is what Chazal said, that sure that Adam Arishon sacrificed before Kodesh Baruch Hu had one horn in its on its forehead. So from here we know that Karen is, and he had that shore that was sacrificed for Karen Ochas Ha'isov out of a Mitzchoi. He had the Karen on his forehead, so we know that the place of Karen is Karen forehead are one and the same. The tefillin is, this is on right on top of the forehead. In other words, Am Yisrael lost the light of tefillin because of the Egel. But those lights were not taken away, never to be returned. They were given to Moshe. And because of that, his light shone, his face shone, his forehead shone. They saw his face was glowing, and they were afraid of coming close to him. Because the year of Moshe Rabbeinu glowed on them. It says, and all the people will see that the name of Hashem is called upon you, and they will be afraid from you. They will get your yira, they will feel your yira, and they will also get your Hashem. As we say, the face of Moshe Rabbeinu glowed with that yira, the light of the film, so the people were afraid of coming to him. They got yira from him. The year of Moshe Rabbeinu glowed on them, and they became. Anybody who does an avera and is embarrassed by it, immediately anybody does an avera and he is embarrassed by it, because Baruch Hu forgives him all his averas. What the avera does is it injects intravenously stupidity to a person. I mean, you feel like, what did I do? I'm the same person as I used to be. Oh, I don't know. So I watched a movie, big deal. What did I do already? I watched a movie. I don't know. I don't know. I watched the Yankees. I don't know. What did I do already? I didn't do anything. You're making such a big spritz out of the whole thing. But the thing is that what we don't realize that every time that the person does something, not just a vera mamish, a vera b'mamish was b'vadai. But even when a person does things that are not up to snuff, with the covet of a Kodesh Baruch Hu, up to snuff. Yeah, up to snuff. No, explain that. It's not on par with the covet of the Kodesh Baruch Hu. It's not matim.
I thought snuff is the stuff you like.
Yeah, I'm saying that's where expression comes from. Probably. My son left a box of snuff here in the shoulder. I don't know where it is. You can find it. Anyhow, when it's not up to snuff, it's not good enough. In other words, it's not up to par with the Kodesh Baruch Hu. That already injects very subtle stupidity. What it does is it puts a veil over the person's eyes, not to be aware of the mitzvah of the Kodesh Baruch Hu. Little by little, like, gauze thin. What? Yeah, I'm for me, no problem. I'll go to shul. I'm not like, maybe I can be a shechter or something. Okay, but said who is? Like and it dumbs a person down. In other words, a person loses the immediacy of Hashem's omnipresence. Well, when a person has this embarrassment, the embarrassment returns the moichin. Then a person is zeichet to understand the greatness of the Kodesh Baruch Hu. As we said before, in the beginning, a person has an embarrassment inside. I mean, we are all aware, plus minus, of some of our shortcomings in a very situation, to a certain degree. but it's a level of task kind of. Really, I it's not. I really shouldn't be like that. I really shouldn't be like that. So what are you going to do about it? I don't know. One day I'll do something about it. One day I'll do something about it. It's really, it's not right. It really is not right that I'm like that. But okay. Doesn't stop me. This is what we said before. The person has a busha. If it's an inside busha, why am I behaving the way I am? But that busha is theoretical. That busha is, I mean, it's there, but it's not bepoil. It's not something like a person who is embarrassed and he's mamish blushing. And in the very beginning, when a person has busha and the busha still does not show on a person's face, and through that inner busha, a person is zoiche to do tshuva, and then he's zoiche to suddenly realize the greatness of a Kodesh Baruch Hu. That's why somebody who is embarrassed of an avera that he did, that means that he's zoiche to do tshuva. We said that embarrassment allows you to do tshuva and to realize the greatness of Kodesh Baruch Hu. And when you do that, the Kodesh Baruch Hu forgives the averas. Moshe Kosov Astavini Yiras Hashem. This is a third parish on what we said before. That how does a person is zoche to Astavini Yiras Hashem? Then you will understand what Yiras Hashem means. To understand the greatness of a Kodesh Baruch Hu. Through the Yiras Hashem, you will get the busha and the year. Anybody that has impudence in him, which is the opposite of busha. It is a known fact that the feet of his forefathers did not stand on Mount Sinai. Because we said when they were on Har Sinai, they got the busha. They got exposed to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. They got an inkling of Hashem's greatness. And they got the busha. The busha was taken and the chinam was taken away. But we're in the process of doing tshuva and getting a little bit, but somebody who was totally impudent. I was upon him, just like, he says, it's known he didn't stand, his forefathers' legs did not stand on Har Sinai. They never got this kind of busha, You speak to a goy, so it's mine. He says, with Lavan, with Yaakov. Yaakov said to Lavan, go ahead, search. What did I take of you? What's Lavan's reaction? Everything you see is mine. Everything you see is mine. The daughters are my daughters, children are my children. The sheep are my sheep, the flocks, my fly, everything belongs to me. It's all mine. What Putin is doing in Ukraine, it's mine. Why? Because it's mine. Because I say it's mine.
My brother's keeper.
It's mine. It's mine. When the Jews came back in Poland to their houses after the Second World War, the Goyim just killed them because they took over their houses. They just killed them. It's mine. Adam Rishon pagam b'vchinas tefillin. Adam Rishon has damaged the of tefillin b'vchinas etz chaim. It says, Hashem Aleim Yichyu. Chazal said, this is the tefillin. So he said, tefillin is Chaim. That busha is Chaim. He has connected himself in the tree of death because they had the klippas on him. That's why he was banished from Gan Eden. As Chazal says, being that the person damages the film is the meaning of Gehenna. It's the opposite of Gan Eden. It doesn't have a shaykhs to Gan Eden, but the Gehenna. The Chatav b'Tiyuvto, when Adam Arishon made tshuva, ksiva yaslem kosnos or, he made for them a garment of leather. Chazal Tikkun Zohar says, what it mean? He gave them tefillin. He gave Omer tefillin that is made of leather. In other words, he was zecher to the light of tefillin again. V'zeh perush shoshi ikriv Adam Arishon. This is what we say that the ox that Adam Arishon has sacrificed on the bull that he has sacrificed had one Karen on his metzach, on his forehead, because it is through the korban. In other words, he did tshuva. Well, they tshuva zochal b'chinas film. He was zochal to b'chinaf film, which is kiran or upon of this is a beaming, a horning, as it were, a horn, a beam, on the skin of his face, because through the life of the film, the life of a person is shining. That's what it says. V'karen hayela b'mitzchah. I want to just mention and connect this with Torah Chafalef that we have learned at great length, in which it starts that you're zeicha to this moichin pchinas kedem by sanctifying the seven candles, your eyes, your ears, your nose, and your mouth. And there is a whole procession of various manifestations of this seven candles. In fact, there are 7 of them in Torah Chafalef. 6 are 6/7, and the last one is 70, which is 7 times 10. First of all, he speaks about the 7 candles of the face, the eyes, the ears, the nose, and the mouth. The second manifestation is Sukkah, Anon HaKoved. There were 7 clouds of glory through which Am Yisrael got, the Koved Eloki, the Pnei Hashem, the light of Tefillin. The third manifestation is Shiva Simei Mishte, the 7 days of festivity that follow a wedding. And on the other side come the other 3. The other 3 is the Lo Aleinu, when somebody passes away, people sit shiva for him. That's in order to return his neshama to Orapanim. Afterwards comes the inyan of Miriam that has damaged the cover to Moshe Rabbeinu. She was sent for 7 days outside the Machne, outside the Machne Shechina, so she became a Mitzorah. Rabbeinu says this is the punishment of Yibum, Yibum, Chalitza. This is what the Rebbe explains, of Miriam. When she became a leper, she spoke with Shanora for Shabenu. So Aaron Cohen said, let her not be like a mess, like somebody who is dead, that when he comes out of its mother's womb, half his flesh would be eaten away, supposedly by leprosy. Rabbeinu explains, Yechel Chatzib Sarai. He says somebody does not have children. What has to happen is that his brother has to marry his wife. And then what happens is that person becomes the child of his own wife. His neshama becomes the child of his own wife. It's very, very difficult for such a child to find the zivum because the zivum became his mother. It's a ime. All this is.
It's very hard for the child to find a zivug.
Yeah.
Why?
Because his zivug became his mother. So where's he going to find a zivug? It has to be big rachmim that should have a zivug. A person is this before a person is born. Shamayim, they're already machlis who his zivug is going to be.
But it's not his fault that he died.
Well, but say the Gemara. That's what he said. We don't say that it's impossible. We say it's big rachmim. It's very difficult. It's a very difficult situation.
But that can't be his zivug anymore if he's coming back as a different type.
But so that's you take a look into Terech HaFalaf and you'll find out what Rabbeinu says about that. The sixth and the last manifestation is Moshe Rabbeinu himself. That it says about, again, we're talking about the 7 candles. It says the mouth of Moshe Rabbeinu, it says, is Pe'el Pe'adaberbo, mouth to mouth I shall speak in him. And about the nose is the Hanova of Moshe Rabbeinu. The ears, it says Bechol Beisin Ne'emanu, he's totally faithful. Moshe Rabbeinu knew everything, but you would not say anything that should not be said. About the eyes, Moshe Rabbeinu says, Tmunas Hashem Yabit. The Rebbe brings over there that particular Torah. And then it speaks about David the Melech says in a Shivim Kolos Alamayim, the 70 voices over the water, that a Yoledes, before she gives birth, she has to cry 70 cries. That's the candelabra. You have 3 from this side, 3 from this side, and the 70 is the one that comes connected to the mouth. But the main nakuda is that this is as ponim legehenim. The Yereb Boshes, somebody who is filled with shame, is to Gan Eden. The busha itself is a tikkun. As we see here, somebody is zecher to busha, he's zecher to tshuva, he's zecher that they're forgiving his averes. Because the meaning of busha is, okay, milchatchila, you don't do anything that is not matim for a yid like you to do. But if a person already went ahead and did that, the sense of busha is the sense, as you said before, is a sense of self. Means that you are shaykh to a behavior that is appropriate for somebody before Hashem. You are not embarrassed that you can't do things that are not shaykh to you. You are not you're not embarrassed by the fact that you can't fly. A bird can fly, but you can't. Okay. What can I do? So I can't fly. I don't fly. There's no busha in there. Busha is only when something that you're shaykh to, but you still can't do it. Busha is your connection to the thing itself. It's right. I missed the boat, but I'm embarrassed by it. It makes me ashamed. I'm connected to it. When you lose your shame, you lose all your shaykhs to Kedusha. There's what it says about Necham, that they're walking chasufei sheis. They're walking, bottom, without, undressed, because they have no shame. They have no shame. They have no kedusha. Shame is the last vestige of your connection to kedusha. B'ezrat Hashem, we will continue that thought. B'ezrat Hashem next Thursday. B'ezrat Hashem, Motzei Shabbos is Shana Rabbah, right? B'ezrat Hashem, we will have Sichas Haran, Sipur B'Shem Tov. Why not? Good thing to do. Be Matzliach. Have a good Shabbos, a good Yom Tov, and alles Guts, alles Guts, alles Guts. All right.
The Boaz and